Tashdile, this is Sakina Bhatt and welcome to Tibet This Week, a weekly news on Tibet, His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration. Let's look at the headlines first. His Holiness the Dalai Lama reminds Tibetans to uphold its culture of compassion and goodness. Ganjong Finance granted license by RBI, SAD rolls out 120 million loan for Tibetan summer business. CTA President presents the Three-Wheel Recognition Award to Dr. Tenzing Dorji, honoured by College for Higher Tibetan Studies, SARA. Human rights and environmental experts conduct workshop on Tibetan issues and international community. China continues religious repression. Tibetan students and civil servants banned from partaking in religious activities. Tibetan spiritual leader, His Holiness the Dalai Lama interacted with a group of Tibetan youths at his residence at Tsuklakhang in Dharamshala on Monday this week. His Holiness reminded them to never forget their identity as a Tibetan, no matter where they go, and that Tibetans share a spiritual connection with Chenrezig, the Buddha of compassion, and that we should always be kind-hearted. The Social and Resource Development Fund, SAD, Department of Finance rolled out a new summer livelihood support program for 2019, under which CTA will provide loans worth a total of Rs 120 million at a minimal 3% interest rate to support Tibetan summer businesses across India. On Friday last week, at a press conference, CTA President Dr. Lobsang Singye announced that the Ganjong Development Finance Private Limited, also called Ganjong Finance, is now a legitimate non-banking financial institution registered with the Reserve Bank of India.
This
year's Summer Livelihood Support Program will benefit over 600 Tibetan beneficiaries operating in 13 Tibetan summer retail markets across India. The program will be implemented from February this year, providing loan packages of Rs 2 lakhs to each beneficiary. CTA President presents the Three-Wheel Recognition Award to Dr. Tenzing Dorji, Chair of U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, on Saturday last week. Dr. Tenzing Dorji was awarded the Institute of Buddhist Dialectic and Sara College's highest alumni honor, the Three Wheels Recognition Award, for his distinguished contribution in the preservation and promotion of Tibetan language, religion and culture, distinct service in translation, and achievements of excellence in the academic and public field. Congratulating Dr. Tenzing Dorji for his remarkable trial of achievements, the President said, "As a first Tibetan Buddhist to be elected at the helm of the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom is a matter of immense pride for Tibetans all around the world." Dr. Tenzing Dorji also visited the Tibetan Parliamentary Secretariat. Speaker of Tibetan Parliament in Exile, Pema Jungne, explained that as a Commissioner of U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, his main responsibility is to work for international religious freedom, but as a Tibetan, he has special responsibility concerning Tibet's religious freedom, and he will take every opportunity to work for religious freedom in Tibet. Earlier this week, human rights and environmental experts conducted a 2.5 days workshop on Tibetan issues and international community at the Central Tibetan Administration in Dharamshala. The workshop featured a discussion on the Swiss political democracy and Switzerland's positioning in the international environment by Margaret Contat, international institutions in Geneva by Adrian Claude Zoller, a presentation on climate change and challenges for the Himalayan region by Yves Lador and Joshua Cooper. The workshop is organized by UN and Human Rights Desk, DIIR, CTA, and Office of Tibet, Geneva. China continues to implement repressive policies to suppress the religious freedom of Tibetans from all walks of life. A recent report published by the Voice of Tibet highlights the extent of such repressive policies. The Tibetan public officials of Lhasa have been banned from participating in any kinds of religious activities. The violators are threatened of dire consequences, such as depriving them of their lifetime welfare benefits. Even Tibetan students are subjected to such repression. A recent report published by Radio Free Asia's Tibetan service informs about an order passed by Chinese authorities in Tibet's Lokha city prohibiting Tibetan students from enrolling in any religious activities during their winter vacation. Such repressive policies have been reported earlier as well. Students are made to sign agreements for not taking part in any form of religious activities during the summer vacation. Tibetan families were prohibited by the Chinese authorities from partaking in any religious activities like going to monasteries, observing festivities during the month of Sakadawa. On the other hand, China is also trying to appease the Buddhist leaders. In a recent report published by UK-based organization Free Tibet, China is continuing to ensure patriotic education of Tibetan monks and nuns and trying to co-opt Tibetan Buddhists by inviting and honoring the Buddhist religious leaders. China has been ranked among the worst violators of freedom of religion or belief and religious tolerance in the world by the European Parliament's Intergroup on Freedom of Religion or Belief and Religious Tolerance and categorized China under Severe Violators Group. So much for this week. See you next time and have a great weekend.